Hey guys, let's get more news from Steelers, but first don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your like. How Eddie Faulkner plans to improve Steelers offense. Eddie Faulkner learned just 2 days ago that he would be taking over as the Pittsburgh Steelers offensive coordinator for the remainder of the season. And immediately, he turned his attention to building a plan to help things improve. Faulkner, the Steelers' running back coach since 2019, said his biggest goal is to take what he's done with the running back room and implement it into running the offense. That starts with organization. I'm a real detail guy. That's how I operate, Faulkner said. That's how I have to operate. And that's how I operate in the running back room, so that's how I'm going to operate anything that has to do with the offense or with our staff. To make sure we're squeezing down, we're tightening it up, we're closing all the space. So we go into a game and these guys can execute and play fast. That's the focus. Faulkner said there isn't much you can do to make wholesale changes to the team's offensive scheme or playbook, but rather work with it to find ways that players can succeed with what's being called. Then they're simply coming together. While Faulkner is the offensive coordinator, the team will need to rely on all aspects of the coaching staff and locker room to find the perfect product on the field. I feel like if you get around a bunch of different, good, capable men, you empower them to do their job. And we got a bunch of really good coaches. All across the board, we got guys in our auxiliary staff and offense who have been coordinators for a long time. Why wouldn't you use all of those resources, Faulkner said. So, that's what I'm doing. So I told the guys, that's what we're gonna do. And I talked to them about communicating with each other. It all comes back down to communicating. How can we funnel our energy to communicate with each other to produce a better product? That's it. And that's where my main focus is gonna be, to make sure we're in lockstep, and guys are coordinated that way. Faulkner expressed his gratitude for the opportunity with the Steelers, and said he feels as if his time in Pittsburgh has been well spent. But, for now, he's putting all of his attention into finding a way to win against the Bengals, and going 1-0 as the team's new offensive coordinator. The way this all happened, there's no time to get caught up in any of that, Faulkner said. We gotta play the Bengals in a couple days. And that was it. That was my sole focus. There was really no, this could segue into this. This was all about getting ready for the Bengals, and that's been my only focus, I promise you. Make sure you bookmark all Steelers for the latest news, exclusive interviews, film breakdowns, and so much more. Jaylen Warren could set Steelers' record in 2023. Efficient and big plays aren't 3 words recently associated with the Pittsburgh Steelers running game. Prioritizing backs with great size and power who can consistently push the pile forward, the Steelers haven't been looking for runners with a ton of juice. But Jaylen Warren arrived on scene in 2022, undrafted out of Oklahoma State, and has slowly and then quickly worked his way up the Steelers' ladder. Even with just 9 carries in Sunday's loss to the Cleveland Browns, Warren had a statement game. The sole source of Steelers' offense, he ran with unbelievable power, creating and getting far more than what was blocked. And he headlined the performance with a 74-yard touchdown run to open up the second half, Pittsburgh's longest rushing score since Willie Parker's 75-yard dart in Super Bowl 40. For the season, Warren has 80 carries for 493 yards and 3 touchdowns. Despite 48 fewer carries, he's only 6 yards behind Najee Harris total. And Warren's average is off the charts, a sparkling 6.2 yards per carry. Of NFL qualifiers, that's easily the top mark in football. Here are the top 5 of running backs. Warren is nearly a full yard ahead of everyone else. If his average were to hold, though truth be told that's unlikely, it would be the second highest season average by a running back since 2011. Only Rashad Penny's 6.3 mark in 2021 would be higher. To bring it back to Pittsburgh, Warren's average is tracking to set a Steelers record. In team history, of runners who finished with at least 100 carries in a season, and Warren will get there soon enough, the highest average is held by Franco Harris, 5.6 yards per carry during his rookie season in 1972. He had 188 carries that year, a number Warren could come close to by the time 2023 wraps up. That mark is in addition to what we wrote about earlier in the year, the possibility of Warren leading the team in receptions. If so, he'd become the first Pittsburgh back to do so since John L. Williams in 1994. Currently, he's just 3 receptions off the lead, 34 of them to George Pickens' 37. Warren may never be a workhorse, full-time back. That'd likely drag his average down, not playing as fresh and with the spark he consistently brings, and his violent running style, while appreciated and a big part of his game, would increase his risk of injury. But he's done everything asked of him and more in the middle of a breakout season. A committee approach is sensible, but the rest of the season, Warren has to be leading the team's two-back approach instead of being the Robin to Najee Harris Batman role. Harris can still technically start, still be atop the depth chart, but Warren can't be outsnapped and outcarried the way he was Sunday. If he keeps up his production, he'll end up with a remarkable year in Steelers history. Steelers among favorites to sign free agent LB Shaq Leonard. The Pittsburgh Steelers have been ravished with injuries in recent weeks and suffered crushing blows to their linebacker unit. Quan Alexander and Cole Holcomb are both on the IR with season-ending injuries. The Steelers have picked up the pieces with recent acquisitions and position shuffles. However, the Steelers are named favorites to land a former 3-time All-Pro free agent linebacker. Shaquille Leonard was let go by the Indianapolis Colts after only appearing in 12 games over the last 2 seasons. He was putting things back together this year with 65 tackles across 9 games. Nevertheless, the Colts felt it best to release him. Should the Steelers take a chance on Leonard with hopes that he can regain the standout form he's only 2 years removed from? Leonard missed 14 games last season due to back surgery and a host of other injuries that he fully recovered from. He has been active throughout the 2023 campaign. But his injury history outside of that is pretty scant. Leonard was known for wreaking havoc in the fumbles department. He led the league with 8 in 2021 and recorded over 100 total tackles in his first 4 seasons. Admittedly, Leonard has seen a decrease in sacks every year as a pro. Albeit, he still has quite a bit left in the tank based on what he's presented on the field in this current campaign. If he were on the Steelers right now, he'd be second behind Elandon Roberts in tackles and would help a defensive unit that doesn't have a player with more than 2 FF on the year. Pro Football Focus has given Leonard a 64.4 run defense grade. He's been better against the run than the pass and would help a Steelers front 7 that sports a 25.8% rushing first down percentage, which is 9th worst in the NFL. Multiple reports cite the Dallas Cowboys and Philadelphia Eagles as expected players to try and land Leonard. Both teams are in a heated battle for supremacy in the notoriously competitive NFC East. The Eagles are defending NFC champions and sit comfortably at 9-1. Despite the pristine record, they have room to improve with both their run and pass defense. The Cowboys, 7-3, are nipping at the Eagles' heels. They are stacked at linebacker with Marquise Bell, Damone Clark and Leighton Van Der Esch all considered high-end players at the position. Leonard would make for a superb ancillary piece to their corp. Leonard was in the midst of his 5-year, $98.5 million contract that he signed back in 2021 with the Colts. The Steelers could add him, though they have just under $3 million in available cap space, which is the 4th lowest availability among all franchises. Roberts has continued to dominate at the line. The Steelers also featured inside linebacker Michael Walker against the Cleveland Browns in Week 11. Additionally, LB Tarek Carpenter remains as an option on their practice squad. Should the Steelers' current stand-ins for Holcomb and Alexander fail to produce this coming Sunday, management would be wise to push the button on signing Leonard. And you fan, what do you think of the Shaq Leonard situation? Leave your opinion in the comments.